What's up? It's Alex Chu. Coming at you. Okay, coming at you with another episode. This episode, I want to talk about, why prenuptial agreements are totally worthless nowadays. Okay, prenuptial agreements are totally worthless nowadays, and a lot of girls, they're just holding. Hold on a minute. A lot of girls, they're just like, marrying you for your, totally marrying you and giving birth to your child for your money, especially if you're rich, especially if you got a career going, you have stable income, and they're looking for you, man. But before I talk about that, I want to tell you my name is Alex Chu. I'm the guy who invented physical mortality rings. These are rings that you put on your small fingers during sleep. You wear them, you don't age anymore. You become physically immortal. For example, I'm already within a few months I'll be 50-year old. Okay, see, I still look pretty good, right? I mean, look at that. Whoops, my underwear's out. You see, I don't have any beer belly or anything. And you can tell my belly is very smooth. You know what that means? That means I never ever work out. I never went to the gym before. I have friends who like pay lots of money for a gym membership. I don't understand what that's all about. I never go to the gym. I bought a home gym before when I was 23, but then I sold it. Nah, I'm too lazy for that bullshit. But anyway, if you want to stay young forever, you want to look like me when you're 50. You want to have a you don't want to have a beer belly when you're 50. Hey, put on my rings, okay? LiveMuchLonger.com. LiveMuchLonger.com. Link is at bottom of this video. Anyway, yeah. Today I want to tell people about what Steven Jackson said on his Instagram. Okay, Steven Jackson is a former NBA basketball player. Okay, of course the guy's rich, filthy rich, and he said he canceled the wedding at the very last moment. He canceled the wedding at the altar because his fiance refused to sign the prenuptial agreement. It's a long video. I watched it. It's like more than 30 minutes, But basically, I'm gonna leave a link at the bottom of this video so you can click on it and then you can watch his own video. Okay, you can watch Steven Jackson's video. He's sitting there smoking weed and he talk. It's a long story, but I'm gonna break it down. Okay, summary is like this. He said there's this woman that gave birth to gave him a daughter. Okay, and he dated this woman for like a year and 2 years, and finally, and then the woman is again pregnant with his son. Okay, so finally he decided, let's get married. All right, so he this woman and him went to the lawyers, right? And then the lawyer drafted out a prenuptial agreement. And then the lawyer explained to the woman, and then the woman agreed. Okay, okay, I'll sign it. I'll sign it. And then the lawyer mailed them the prenuptial agreement, right? And then Steven Jackson gave it to her. But then she kept on dragging. She doesn't sign, right? And Steve Jackson became very concerned because he planned the wedding, He spent like $400,000 planning this wedding, right? So Steven Jackson kept asking her, "Hey, baby, where's the prenuptial agreement? You gonna sign it?" She said, "I'll sign it. I'll sign it. Give me some time." She kept dragging and dragging and dragging, and then it was like until 1 week, 1 week before the wedding, right? Steven Jackson kept asking her, "So, baby, where's the prenuptial? You sign it?" She said, "I'll sign it. I'll sign it." And then she said, "Oh, I don't want to use your pastor. They're gonna get married in Houston, Texas, right?" See, and then suddenly the wife said, the woman said, "I don't want to use your pastor. I want to call in a pastor from somewhere else." See, this woman never met the pastor from New York, okay? But she said, "I want the pastor from New York to fly in, okay, to basically wed us, right?" And Steven Jackson said, "Okay, okay, whatever. I thought about using my pastor because he's right here. He's local, right? Doesn't it save us a little money? But you want to fly the guy from New York? Fine. You want to fly him in? Fine. Spend another $3,000, fly this guy in." And on the day of the wedding, okay, everybody all dressed up, everybody, he put on a tuxedo, she put on a dress, everybody all dressed up, and at the last moment, hey baby, where is the prenuptial agreement? How come you don't sign it? And then she kept on dragging, and then Steven Jackson went to her mother, went to the, to be in, her mother, right? Say, hey, uh, how come your daughter refused to sign the prenuptial agreement? And the mother say, hey, give her some time, give her some time. It's gonna be signed. It's gonna be signed. And then, it was like 1 hour before the wedding, right? Steven Jackson said, fuck this shit. I'm not getting married without that prenuptial. Nobody can change my mind. And then guess what? The pastor came. The pastor that she insisted, right? She wants to fly that pastor in from New York to Texas, to Houston, Texas, to marry them. The pastor say, hey, hold on, son. Hold on, son. Hey, let me talk to you, okay? You should forget about the prenuptial and just get married. And then the pastor said, I don't believe in prenuptials. The pastor told Steven Jackson, see, I don't believe in prenuptial. And then Steven Jackson say, oh, that's the reason why she insisted that she wants you to be the pastor, because you don't believe in prenuptials, okay? That's the reason why she doesn't want me to use my own pastor who's local. She wants to fly your ass in all the way from New York, spend me $3,000 to fly your ass in all the way from New York, because you will convince me to forget about prenuptial. Steven Jackson said, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to fall for it. Marriage is off, right? So he canceled the marriage at the last minute. And then she came crying, and then the wife came crying, right? I mean, the woman came crying and said, baby, I'll marry you. I'll marry you. Please, please. I'll sign anything. I'll sign anything. And then Steven Jackson said, forget it, because, okay, based on the law, okay, because I spoke to my lawyer. I spoke to my friend who got married and got divorced and got divorce rate. And they all say prenuptial agreement can be tossed out at the court, if the wife is like under stress to sign the prenuptial. Like, for example, she's all crying and shit, and she's signing the prenuptial at the very last moment. That prenuptial could be tossed out in the court, tossed out in the court when they get a divorce. It's called, I don't know, it's called claim under duress. I think it's called claim under duress, okay? Meaning that the woman's all stressed out. It's like she's under pressure to sign the prenuptial. She's all crying and shit. Oh, sign anything. Steven Jackson said, fuck you. You're crazy. I'm not. No way. I'm not stupid. I'm not signing it. Or if you just gave that woman a prenuptial agreement, right? And the lawyers are not present, that prenuptial could also be tossed out. That's the reason why Steven Jackson did everything right. Steven Jackson made sure that he hired a lawyer, and then the lawyer spoke to they hired a lawyer, right? And then the lawyers explained the prenuptial to the woman, right in front of her, right? That's one thing he did right. Second he did right is when the woman cried and want to sign the prenuptial at the very last moment, he said, fuck you, no way. He did that right too, And then, so they never got married, right? But then the woman still had his children, one daughter and one son. And later on, and then right after that, the woman left him. The woman say, oh, you don't marry me, I leave you. And then she just moved to another state with the daughter and the son, right? And then of course this guy has to pay them child support, for another 18 to 20 years of child support. And he doesn't even get to meet his son and daughter that much. One day he decided, hey, I want to meet my son. It's his birthday. I want to fly you guys in from wherever, to my house in California. He has a house in California, right? He flew them in from California, right? And spent lots of money on spent thousands of dollars on a small birthday party for his son, right? And then guess what? A few months later, he received a letter from the law firm. Okay, this woman again claims that she wants more money. She wants more alimony because she said, I also lived in his house in California. She only been there once. She said, I want alimony of California because I also live in that house. I also live in his house. She only been there once. It's because Steven Jackson wants to throw a party for his son, right? Just like what I said. Spent a few $1,000s, flew them in, you know, and she stayed in his house like one time, like one or 2 days. And then she went back home. And then because of that, you know, she told her lawyer, I want to claim more alimony of, based from the state of California because I lived in that house like one day. And then of course they went to court and then the judge said, "Oh, come on, man, enough is enough. This woman is trying to, because Steven Jackson has many, many houses throughout the whole country, throughout the entire United States. He has many, many houses. And this woman like try to claim alimony from every state, because women try to claim, oh, I want alimony because he has a house over there. I want alimony from that state because he has a house in that state. She tried to claim alimony from every state. But that's the way how it is nowadays. Especially prenuptial doesn't really work because there's like, especially I think especially within 10 or 20 years, right now the judge, I mean, the law is becoming more and more favorable toward, you know, uh, females. See, if you sign a prenuptial 20 years ago, nowadays it's like it's worthless. The prenuptial is totally worthless because 20 years ago it wasn't that strict. All you have to do is get a piece of paper, make sure somebody sign it, and that's it. Back in the days, there were no, the law wasn't that strict. Now they have these new laws say, oh, the lawyer must be present. When both of you are signing it, the lawyer must be present. The lawyer must explain. And then also the person cannot sign the prenuptial under stress. Like you cannot be crying, you cannot be signing at the last moment. Back in the days, they don't have that kind of law. These laws are new. It's newly made up. So basically, most of the prenuptial that was signed like 20 years ago, right now it's worthless. You can imagine 10 years later, there's going to be all sorts of new laws, to make the prenuptial obsolete. So whatever you sign, you get married, you sign a prenuptial today. 10 years later, it's worthless. Your prenuptial is totally worthless because they make the law more favorable to the females as time goes by. You understand? And I don't understand why people are getting married because most of the marriages don't last more than 20 years. You see, people are getting divorced left and right. See, Dr. Dre, right? He's like almost a billionaire, right? And right now, his wife is claiming divorce. His wife wants a divorce now. And then Dr. Dre say, I have a prenuptial. And the wife say, your prenuptial doesn't work because you made me sign the prenuptial under distress. I was distressed when you forced me to sign a prenuptial. So the wife tried to toss the prenuptial out the court. Who else is getting divorced? A whole bunch of people are getting divorced nowadays. Dr. Dre, he married for like 22 years. But the marriage is actually fake because based on what I know, his wife left him long time ago. His wife left him like 6 or 7 years ago. They his wife, I don't know, and then there's who else is getting divorced? I think what's his name? Will Smith. Oh yeah, Will Smith. Will Smith and Jada Smith. Those women, they don't bring anything to the table. Dr. Dre's wife, who the fuck is she? She nobody. She doesn't do anything. All she does, I mean, she's a babysitter. That's all. She doesn't do shit. And now she wants $500 million from Dr. Dre. 22 years of marriage. Let me calculate, man. How much is that? 22 years of marriage, okay? Let's just say Dr. Dre gets to fuck his wife, okay? Twice a week. Just say twice a week, okay? 22 years of marriage. Let's calculate a little bit. You know what? That comes up to, okay, 20, 1 year has 52 weeks, right? 52 weeks times 2 because he gets fucked twice a week, right? So let's just say 104 per year. 104, he gets sex 104 times every year, right? 104 times 22 years. Oh, by the way, they 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 separated like 6 or 7 years ago. So 104 times 15 years, okay? Getting sex twice a week, okay? So that's 1,560 times, right? Now she wants 500 million. Let's say she wants 500 once. So basically I'm sorry. $1,664, yeah. So every time he fuck his wife, right? He has to pay the wife $300,000. Yeah, think about that. Like every time I fuck my own wife, I have to pay her. I owe her $300,000. You think about that. Is it worth it? You know, you got okay. You guys are together for 16 years, right? And let's say you get sex like twice a week, right? And every time you have sex with her, you owe her $300,000. Is it worth it? You know, see, I have a sex doll right here. I fuck my sex doll at least 1,000 times. Okay, I pay $700 for it. Think about that. So how much am I paying every time I have sex with a sex doll? And they pretty much it's quite similar, 700. Oh, I pay 70 cents every time I fucked her. Think about that. I pay 70 cents, right? It's actually quite similar to real sex. The reason is because especially if you're fucking your wife, right? They don't give you heads. They don't give you blowjob. They don't do no anal, or they don't do anything wild or crazy. They just lie there. The wife would just lie there, missionary, right? Because she lost interest in you. As you age or you gain weight or whatever, which she just find you boring and she lose interest in you. She just lie there, missionary. And you just fuck her. You fuck her for I don't know 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you're lucky, you get to ejaculate. If you're not lucky, you don't ejaculate. Nothing's done. I pay 70 cents. Okay. And there's a Steven Jackson guy. I mean, not Steven Jackson. Dr. Dre. He paid $300,000. Imagine that. Nah, don't do it. Serious. Don't get married. I think 20 years later or 10 years later, a lot more people will refuse to get married. So I think 80% of the men will just simply don't get married. It would be very common. So don't fall for it. Don't let people talk you into it. Right now, it might look cool to get married, but 10 years later, 20 years later, you look like a fool. You're gonna look like a fool. I'll talk to you later.